Sheriff, we got a lot to talk about.
I am not an animal!
Damn, I'm thirsty. I want a beer. What about you? You want a beer?
The ice is gonna break! I am not a human being! I am an animal!
And I'm sorry you can't do this. I really am, because I wouldn't have to fucking sit here and watch you fumble around and fuck it up.
I am Shiva, the god of death.
Shut up and sit down, you big bald fuck.
You gonna eat your cornbread?
But for me, it was Tuesday.
And you have meddled with the primal forces of nature. And you will atone.
I can't wait to hear it.
I'd
listen to it every
I'm
time.
pretty sure I had sent it to you before, but I was having like I went over some of my old music and I changed up the piano part to it a bit. Oh my god.
Wow. It's the Pope.
Whoa.
I have arrived, my subjects, because I wish to welcome you all to this latest edition of the 3 for 3 podcast. I am the Archbishop of Canterbury, Jackson Workman, and I am joined by my two devout followers, Mr. Samuel Holler and Mr. Matthew Patterson. But I have something to say as far as the insanity that transpired last week. You both, for your sins and transgressions, for the discussion of circumcision and foreskin, for 15 entire sinful, ungodly minutes, are now excommunicate from the church, and your eternal souls are now damned for all time. And should you disagree with me today on any picks, you do so on the peril of your eternal souls. I have spoken. I, the Archbishop of Canterbury, the bearer of the word of our good Lord in heaven, God himself, and Jesus Christ, who was here on the show last week, who said many sacrilegious things himself. So, there you go.
Just having a moment of weakness, okay?
He was tempted. Fuck you. He was tempted.
Under temptation.
He was going through it.
Delivered by Samson.
Yes, welcome one and all to this week's episode of 3 for 3. I don't know how we come back from that last episode, which was probably the funniest shit that's ever happened on this show, and the most offensive at the same time. So
we might have to find a new platform.
Yeah, exactly. They've anticipated it because now they're fucking with our views. Our views are like somehow plummeting drastically. I don't understand how that happened, but yeah, they've anticipated how offensive we're about to be, and they're punishing us ahead of time. But yes, the reason for my appearance today, it's not just a continuation of last week. It is my way of setting up my pick for this week, which is Becket, which I guess we'll start with. Yes.
Did you get this for the podcast, or did you just have this? I have a question. That's my
question. I ordered this at about 2 a.m. on Sunday night, and I made sure that it would get here by today. So,
hell yeah.
Because I mentioned last time I was having bit envy, and I needed to come up with a good one, and I was determined. I was determined this week to do a big bit, because you guys were both so on point last week, especially Sam. So I was like, I'm doing something this week, damn it. So here we are. But
I like it.
Yes, this
Becket is king.
Yeah, fuck King Henry. Beckett's the real king.
Well, this week I am King Henry, so we are about to have a challenge amongst the two of us.
There we go. Are you gonna have me kill?
I brought forks.
There we go. Everybody came with something. Well,
Even though fucking King Henry did not really wear his crown most of the time, I have my crown this week because I will be king.
well, I will. You may
My
be,
bitch ass stupid son is unfortunately going to become king.
in the words of Eminem, why be a king when you could be with God? I'm paraphrasing there, but um, but yes, my pick for this week is Becket, the 1964 classic film. And if you can, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to most respectfully picture this. You're Richard Burton, but really, you're Thomas Becket. You just happen to look just like Richard Burton.
Saxon, dog, traitor.
Shut up, you fucking Norman.
Norman, yeah.
But
Normans.
instead, as Richard Burton, instead of fucking Elizabeth Taylor, you are the king, King Henry II's most trusted friend, and you're arguably maybe fucking him instead. It's left ambiguous, but I think we all know what was really going down with Becket and Henry.
To also paraphrase another joke on this show from last season, gay love in England be real, yo.
It really do. It really do. But so you're Thomas Becket. It's 1160 or some shit like that. You're in England. You're a Saxon. And your people have been conquered by the Normans, by English royalty. And you're Thomas Becket and you're a Saxon, but you're the King of England, King Henry II's fucking right-hand man. And you're doing all his shit for him. And one day he decides to make you the Archbishop of Canterbury. It's a political move, you see, because he wants to have power within the church because the current Archbishop doesn't like him very much. And so what you do is you install Thomas Becket, but what Thomas Becket decides to do is
Jackson.
not just be a puppet. He wants to actually take his position seriously and serve the Lord faithfully. He's never been able to love anything, but he loves God. So that's what he's going to serve instead of this bitch ass motherfucker right here, King Henry II, because you're not worthy of Becket's love.
Archbishop of England.
There you go. But
You
see,
will not betray me, you will obey.
that's exactly what King Henry said. He said, "You will not betray me, you will obey." And Becket said, "Fuck you. Yes, I am." And they start a war with each other and they become mortal enemies. And also there's just an enormous amount of sexual tension there as well.
I mean, they anointed his hands. They consecrated his hands. He was ready for that shit. You don't come for holy hands, bro.
No,
He came for holy hands.
don't fuck with holy hands. That will not go well for you. But so it's a whole thing about how, and it's a true story. So it's the true story of how, yeah, Thomas Becket stood up to King Henry II and, you know, just tried to defy him. And so there you go. And King Henry II also just happens to look like Peter O'Toole. But yeah, there you go. But yeah, so I'll turn it over to you guys first. What were your thoughts on this one?
Same. I mean, I just finished it. I literally just finished it right before we started. I liked it. It was good. I definitely. It's not it didn't stick in my head completely. Right when we sat down, but I did like it though. It was very well shot, and the writing was killer. So I'll give it that. Reminded me of The Last Duel a little bit, even though I know that's way, in the newer films, but it's in the same period.
Yeah,
but gave me Last Duel vibes a little bit. Sam, what did you think?
I feel bad because the other day, just about 15-20 minutes of the Ten Commandments was on TV, and I was watching it, and it made me really appreciate some of the colors and everything. And this movie has wonderful colors and is shot really well. But I was way more invested. I was I don't want to watch Ten Commandments, but it was on in the background while I was somewhere, and I just kept looking over and being God, that movie looks good. And I wanted something like that from this, and I was honestly not as into it as I wanted to be, but I still had a great time. I think that this is a very good movie, and that scene towards the end when they run up to each other on their horses and they have that conversation, and he rides away and he's shouting Thomas, and then you go back a little bit and like, well, not back, but go further into the movie, and he's like on his knees in front of his compatriots, his hound. Cheers to my hounds. Just once again shouting Thomas, because he loves that man, and that man loved him, and he loved him before he loved God, and that's why he is jealous of God, and that's why he doesn't think there is space for God in their relationship. And there's like, by the end I really found myself like really into a lot of stuff. There was just not enough of the movie left by the time I really got into it to fully enjoy it, I think.
Yeah, Sam, I kind of felt a similar way as you. I enjoyed this quite a bit. Thought it was very good, great, cinematography, production value, a lot of great the performances. I mean, Jesus Christ, Richard Burton and Peter O'Toole just at the top of their games in this one, just going at it. But yeah, out of all the movies kind of like this that I've seen, like set in this time period with this kind of style, it definitely was not one of my favorite ones. It was like, not as exciting as some of those were. And kind of, you just kind of pointed out something I hadn't thought about, which is a lot of the most exciting parts of it were kind of in the second half, whereas the first half, not as much. But that being said, I think, Matt, like you said, the screenplay was killer. It won the Oscar for best screenplay, which I can see why. I thought it was a very interesting story, definitely about the relationship between these two guys. I had never heard of Thomas Becket, so like learning who he was interesting. Although apparently they changed a lot of stuff for the movie. Apparently he wasn't a Saxon in real life at all. So that's such an important part of the movie.
I was thinking like the production value and like design and everything during that whole part was really what like sucked me into it. And maybe it's the absolute betrayal and epicness of this battle between two lovers, as I viewed it and will always say. This movie gave me nightmares. I fell asleep after I had watched it on the couch this morning, and because I got up for class at like 7:45, went to class for an hour, came back and watched this movie, and then fell asleep. I had some weird nightmares with some like storm stuff happening, and it was odd. It left the movie feeling weird for me as well, but like in a good way.
Yeah. And it's interesting because, yeah, I mean, obviously with, censorship at the time, they couldn't fully depict it as a romantic relationship, but it is very, very like strongly implied that that's what it is. I mean, they get away with it as much as they possibly can, and it is interesting I almost wonder if that's kind of the thing that's missing, like that one little detail that maybe would have livened it up a bit, is if we could really fully explore that angle to the story rather than them holding back because they can't explore it too much. But even
one well-placed sex scene.
Say what?
Said one well-placed sex scene.
That's what.
That's
boy,
all we needed.
Between Richard Burton and Peter O'Toole.
In the beginning, though.
It happened. We just didn't see it.
Yes.
It happened right that scene where they're getting out of that house at the beginning, running away on the horse. It happened. They had a three-way right before then. We just didn't see it.
The cum was on the wall, but it just didn't show up on the film.
Exactly. But
Thank God he gave you breasts.
Yeah, some truly wild lines in this one for sure.
Like the forks. Like,
yeah,
we got forks. Oh, it's more civilized this way. We can wash the fork.
You can wash your hands too.
But we have so many forks. Look at how many forks we have. There's so many forks.
Did you just
We
go
got
into
enough
your,
forks to go around, guys. It's okay.
Did you just go into your kitchen and dick your whole silverware drawer
Yes.
out?
Yes, I did. Like, we have big forks and we also have small forks.
Oh, I can't believe there are more. Oh,
Yeah, we got these all the forks.
Wow.
We got enough forks to go around. We don't need to be savages and eat with our hands. We can wash our hands, but hey, we use those to play with our dicks. We don't use the forks to play with our dicks, okay?
Hey, that is a sin I cannot abide by. Masturbation in any form. No, just kidding. Do whatever you want. Just don't let me find out. But
hey, I always know though, or last week me always
yeah,
knew.
Jesus knew, but now I speak to Jesus, and now he tells me, so I know. So, but yeah, I think for me, really the highlight. I mean, great again, production design, great cinematography, great vivid colors, which you always want these kind of period dramas like this to have. Um, but like to me, the standout for sure was just the two lead performances. I thought just Peter O'Toole and Richard Burton were just, I mean, really like, and they were great the whole movie. And let me tell you, not many people can yell like Peter O'Toole can. When
Oh
that
yeah.
motherfucker yells, it like goes through your soul. Like, I mean, it reaches into the deepest parts and like makes you listen. Like, okay, okay, whatever you want, I'll do it. So, and it's so funny because I really want to pick. It's not on streaming. I so badly want to pick eventually The Lion in Winter. I don't know if either of you have seen that. That is, he plays King Henry II in that movie as well. Um, and
That's
it's Katharine Hepburn plays his wife. And his Anthony Hopkins is one of his sons. It's a crazy movie. It was made a few years after this, and it is, oh my God, that movie is so incredible. But it was interesting having seen that and seeing this, him play the same part twice, but play it in kind of two very different ways, like similar in that he's being a dick and yelling at everybody. But in this one, he seems kind of, I don't know, like a younger version where in Lion in Winter, he's got like a big beard and he's kind of older and he's like, kind of more commanding. Whereas in this one, he's kind of almost more, he's commanding in this one, but in a different kind of way. Like if you saw them both, you'd know what I mean. Just like his energy is definitely different in both. But it was interesting to see kind of the variations on how he played the character, like just based on the material. And yeah, some of the greatest, this is foreshadowing for a future pick that we have, so many incredible monologues in this one because man, that scene where he is telling his wife off, I mean, just right after Becket like says he's going to go to the Pope, I was like, God damn, like that's a tell off if I've ever heard one, man. And then she gets him back later.
Start whipping myself on fucking camera.
That
I
was
take the
wild.
lashes.
I was not expecting that to happen, and
Yeah, that was wild. The scene where
one of
he's
my favorite
fucking,
scenes.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was
When
like,
he
man,
scrolled up.
he's taking the punishment, man. Fuck King Henry II, to be honest. He's one of my least favorite kings. There's a second movie on this podcast where we got a bitch ass Henry. We had Henry V in Chimes at Midnight, and now we got Henry the second in this movie. Fuck like every King
It's a
Henry.
line of Henrys that are bitches.
Yeah, Henry VIII comes later, and he was obviously a bitch. So, we got all kinds of Henrys.
Fifth connection that I will get to later in this podcast.
Oh boy. And also I got to shout out, first of all, I love the pettiness too of some of the characters. A lot of the side characters are really good. I really liked the young Saxon guy who became his kind of protege. I was like, oh, he was a cool character. I was really sad when he died. I love the journey of him like trying to kill him and hate him and doesn't respect him whatsoever. And he goes from that to like being his most trusted confidant and really helping him. And that was so fucked up when he's just like, if I just took one of them out, I'd die happy. And he didn't get even one. Like he just got killed immediately before he even got to land a single blow. I was like, oh, that's so devastating. But I love the petty ass purple cloak guy. That motherfucker, that was the most petty motherfucker on the planet. I was like, God bless, bro. Like, you
I
need to
have a
get a
question
hobby
for
or
you,
something.
Jackson.
Like, this is fucking all consuming for you. And I love the scene where, like, he thinks he and King Henry are like bros now that he's like coming to him. And the second he starts talking shit, King Henry just starts choking him. He's just like, motherfucker, like, who told you to talk? Like, don't you talk about him in front of me. I was like, yeah, that was
Jackson, I have
mhm.
a question for you.
Yes.
How was the food at the monastery?
It was appalling. Just appalling. It was terrible. It honestly made me want to kill myself.
So was it a long
Why don't you?
journey or was it a
Well,
short
now that you
journey?
mention it, because I didn't have that last push. Thank you.
You're welcome. Everyone needs one.
They're gonna kill me anyway. They're gonna come in, barge in during the service, and kill me. So
Stab you in the
why
chest.
deprive them of that joy? But
I
what were you gonna
I
say?
do want to also shout out the composer of this movie who mainly did TV work after this. This was like his biggest movie and then did like the Young Indiana Jones theme and a bunch of other TV movies and stuff, which is like still he has a huge filmography. So like at least he worked. But I was like, this is an interesting choice for your like venture into movies, and I wonder why you didn't go back to it very often. But Lawrence Rosenthal,
Yeah,
composer of the
I
music.
thought I had looked up that he had done a few more movies like this, like kind of period dramas
Yeah,
like this. So I was
the
like, I
other
guess this
ones
is
are like period stuff, and it's always like multiple years between, but mostly towards the beginning of his career, he did that stuff, and then he just fully went TV. But he's multiple Emmy nominated for all of his TV stuff. So,
that's pretty
and
cool.
then, um, yeah,
The music in this
Young
was
Indiana Jones.
definitely
Young Indiana Jones.
the music in this was definitely memorable. Also, shout out to Jeffrey Unsworth, the cinematographer, who's a fucking god. And did a great job on this one. I also fucking love. I saw his name in the credits. I was waiting the whole movie for him to show up. John Gielgud as the King of France. I was like, okay, finally he's it. But he had hair. That threw me off so much. I'm used to him being bald. I was like, what the fuck? John Gielgud's got hair. This is fucking wild. He killed his part too. He wasn't in it a whole lot, but when he was in it, he was like, I love how petty he was as well. Like he's playing chess and they're just like, they've been waiting for 3 days. Yeah, and like let them wait, those motherfuckers, you know? And he's like, oh, fine, let him in already. And then they're like, if he comes here, you have to promise to give him up. And he's like, absolutely. I'll let you know the second I hear something. And then they leave. He's like, hey, yo, Becket, get in here, man.
That's how
Like,
you
I'm gonna
know
help
this
you out.
movie had like queer undertones is the amount of sass that is just written all over
He
it.
was very sassy. He
Yes.
was very, very sassy, and I loved it. Um, yeah, and the Pope,
The
who you know, I may or may not kind of be dressed as, he was very obviously dubbed, which I thought was kind of funny, but that was
I really enjoyed his parts though, and which
yeah,
is why my review was the joke at the very end of like that initial scene where
yeah, that was a good
wait till he
line he had.
sees or wait till he eats the food at the monastery or
I love
whatever.
how the Pope was trying to be reasonable, and that cardinal was just standing next to him, just but he was just clearly concerned about the money. He's just like, all right, well, if you want, I'll leave. That sounds good to me. He's like, shut the fuck up. Like,
Yeah,
let me
shut the fuck up.
answer. Which is funny. And yeah, as you mentioned, Sam, I love that scene on the horses.
Yeah,
That was a great moment. Very tense. You kind of worried about what's gonna happen there. And you know, I just love the exchange. And then again, holy shit, Peter O'Toole's best scene in the movie was that part at the end during the dinner where he's just like having a heart attack basically and all suffering and shit, and you can see it's like tearing him apart. And I was like, man, he was authentic as fuck in that scene. I love that. And that was that whole again, just yeah, a great story about he wants to so badly like love this dude and trust this dude, but his vanity and his ego just gets in the way. He's just like, that motherfucker chose God over me. I can't have it. No one comes before
yeah.
me. And also, Jesus Christ, the most fucked up shit in this movie.
Hey,
You said
you said
it.
it. You're the blasphemer.
Well, now I have to kill myself.
If somehow his like feet could just pop up in the
Yeah,
top
that's
frame.
Oh,
Oh, a Tarantino shot.
Well, ugh,
That's the
I
end of
think
that
it's
bit.
not.
No, I'm just kidding.
So what?
So that's the end of that bit.
Yes, I'm no longer, I guess,
I'm just kidding.
a cardinal,
You
but
have to keep it.
at
You
the
have to
very
keep it
least,
on the whole time.
yeah, at least for the rest of this one. But I can't really change out of it. I have nothing on underneath it, but
You
um,
can. You got to
damn.
hang dong.
we got
Just
an ass
like
shot from you
Becket.
last week, so it's only fair that I
We might
follow
have to. Might have to put a nail in it though.
Depends on whether I'm circumcised or not.
Well,
I'll get the
they
hammer
were,
and the nail. We can find out.
y'all, every time I have a good transition, y'all switch the transition that I have in my brain to the other
Well,
movie between the last two.
well, let me just say real quick, there was one last thing I wanted to bring up, which was the most fucked up part of the movie was that part at the beginning when Beckett's lady friend kills herself. That just like that was so fucking crazy. I did not see that coming. I was like, damn, man, like King Henry fucking sucks ass. And he doesn't even care. Like his first thing is just like, I'm frightened, Thomas. Like, I'm the one who's been affected by this. I'm just like, you bitch. Like, oh my God.
I have two things to say.
Or checks.
It was amusing because, first off, now that you are exiled as Archbishop out of England and you are fleeing to go see the Pope, I now, as King of England, promise you safe return if you come back, and I anoint you priest of cinema. Put don the cap of the priest, and you shall seek rewards within our next film. Because as I watched Smoke, and I pulled up Pluto TV, what was playing on it? Henry V with Kenneth Branagh, and I was like, this is a great connection. And
Wow.
don the cap. You have now been anointed.
Well, but do you
Bishop of
promise?
cinema or Pope or
Do
priest of
do you
cinema.
promise now that you've let me come back to England safely? You promise you won't kill me, right?
I don't
As
know.
long as you make weekly like sermons about cinema.
Yeah. As long as
Okay.
you learn that Canterbury is not where my son will be anointed, it is going to
Bitch
be
ass son.
in New York.
Say
In New York.
what?
New York, that is. Brooklyn, potentially
Speaking, honey.
Flatbush. And I, as king, must light this cigar.
Oh boy. I knew I'd be the only one unprepared for this bit. So yes, I am I guess the Archbishop of Cinema now. But nevertheless, now that we're out of Becket, I will remove my ceremonial robes. And as I guess we said already, the next film for this episode is Smoke from Mr. Wayne Wang, which was Mr. Patterson's pick. So take it away, my good sir.
Not just Mr. Wayne Wang, but also Mr. Paul Auster,
Of course.
who co-directed and, of course, wrote it. So, as we say on the podcast, picture this. You're a writer in New York. You like to smoke some cigars. Your wife is dead. Where do you find the most solace in life? Down at the cigar store. You go down, you buy some cigars, you shoot the crap with the people there. Giancarlo Esposito, you got Jared Harris. So, and you meet some people like, specifically Augie, who's played by Harvey Keitel.
Second
And,
appearance in a row from
yes,
Mr. Keitel and from Victor Argo, who played John the Apostle in Last Temptation of the Christ and played one of the people who comes into the cigar store in this movie.
all right, hell yeah, I did not
Talking
notice
to about the Cuban cigars. So
that. Okay, that's the yep. That's who I thought. I assumed it was. But yeah. So, and you're a writer. Your name is Paul Benjamin. and you kind of just get into things. You're about to walk across the street, and a young man saves your life, played by Harold Perrineau. Shout out to the GOAT. And you feel indebted to him, so you offer him a place to stay. And that may or may not have been a good move on your part, my friend. Uh, and basically, this is a multi-spanning story, or like multi, character story of life in, I want to say life in New York, but it's really connected to the cigar shop, and through kind of Paul Benjamin's eyes, really, or like William Hurt's eyes, who goddamn is such a good actor.
I
And
was wondering why he was credited before Harvey Keitel, and then watching the movie, it's like, yeah, he's kind of the main character.
I see. I don't. To me, Harvey Keitel is the main character of the
That's
movie.
what I was thinking, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you
From
kind
the
of see it
monologue,
through
I think
his eyes, like you're seeing it through William Hurt's eyes, though, kind of.
I think it's
But there is a lot of scenes that don't have him too, so it's kind
because
of.
everything stems from the cigar shop, and obviously Keitel's the one who, like, you're observing all of these perspectives through his relation to them coming through the cigar shop. So
But if
that's
he hadn't almost walked in front of the truck and Harold Trudeau didn't save him, then they wouldn't have had their whole thing connect to his
I
whole
mean,
thing.
I guess you could say maybe they're
So,
co-leads, but
but
I mean,
also,
which is it's very interesting movie because of that, because
also,
you feel like everyone is a main character. There's no.
yeah.
if
I
only
mean,
the
it's not
shop
character.
had been more busy that day. If only he had talked to her for just a little bit longer, we wouldn't have the events that is the film.
That's honestly
Exactly.
that's one of my favorite scenes in the movie is him talking. That was like that let me
Yeah.
know right off the bat. I was like the first 5 minutes, just that first scene with them shooting the shit, and then they have that conversation in the store. I'm like, I'm really gonna love this movie. I'm gonna enjoy this a lot. I can tell. And that's exactly what happened.
Hell yeah. No, I mean, it's like literally so like it's so grounded emotionally. It's fucking like again, the moment you think like, okay, another fucking monologue, the monologue is killer. It grabs you, it tells you so much. And when you're like confused on how could this even tie together, the end of the movie just fucking comes through and rips it all up. Uh, what I like about it is the set design too. It made it feel very real. Like everything was just very like, that shop felt like a real shop. It's not
Yeah.
like some set they made.
And every like street scene, every bar they were in, the apartments, it all felt very real, like they were really in
Like, lived
Brooklyn.
it. Exactly. And
And even the gas station out in the middle of nowhere, that looked like a real place.
okay, so fun fact. I was trying to find it before the podcast and I couldn't. If I can before we post this, I will send it to you. Uh, so me and my dad are watching this back in, like middle school, probably eighth grade, uh, for the first time. And the gas station, or not the gas station, the garage that Forrest Whitaker works at. My dad was like, "Oh, I know that place. It's literally right down the street from like your grandma's place that we always go to." And we're like, "Oh, really? No shit." And so like next time we were up there, we drove down, and I've been to that like garage where he's running up and down the stairs on the side and he's staring across the street and shit.
No
And it still
shit.
was there. And it was right down the street now from where he lives, because he lives where she lives now, or she lived. But yeah, like still there down the street. And I have pictures of me outside of it, and I want to find those. But yeah,
Send me that and I'll put it over like the screen right now. Yeah, because that's dope as shit.
and that was one of the weird connections to the
Technical
movie that I had, where I was
difficulties.
like, "Whoa, this is way closer to me than I thought." But
Wow. That's cool.
yep. But yeah, no, I love this movie. This time was my probably my favorite time watching it. And then I think because like I just felt like I got it more, and this might landed on like the top 10 list for me because I liked it a lot. But
Like for the podcast or just
no, for like top 10 of all time.
oh
Like
wow.
movies. It might
Wow.
not necessarily in like the top five, but seven or eight.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, maybe 10, but it's really good. I don't know. I really liked it.
I was definitely watching this thinking to myself, this seems like a movie Matt would really enjoy.
I guess
Um,
I would consider this the hottest chili pepper this side of the Rio Grande.
Yes.
yes.
Dumb little whacked out fuck, aren't you?
Fuck you, you white bastard. Whatever he says.
Yeah.
But
One of my favorite lines was the Richard or Root, I can't say it, Rudyard Kipling poem where they're like, never the twain shall meet. and,
Mhm.
and the whole rest of the movie, it's a very good mix of characters in terms of backgrounds and
Yeah, the best part of the movie, I mean, first of all, the writing is just phenomenal. I mean, it's one of those super dialogue heavy movies, where yeah, a bunch of monologues about, shit, about all kinds of different shit, and they're all very well written and very vivid. And I can tell, like, apparently Paul Auster, who wrote it, is a novelist mainly, and it kind of shows like this is kind of
The main character is definitely self-insert because his
yeah,
name is Paul Benjamin Auster. So
yeah. So,
yeah, and
um,
then so I was like, yeah. I also read one of his books after I like saw the movie, and it's the New York trilogy, and there's literally a story that he put in the book from the movie.
oh
oh.
wow.
Like, oh shit! But it's really good.
Well,
His writing is really good.
apparently, the whole Christmas story was something he had been come up with before, and he put it in this. I don't know if it was his story or if one he read in a
Well,
newspaper or something, but that was like a real story that like existed already. So, uh,
with the connection to something we'll talk about later, it's wild that the first movie, Becket, is about Christianity, and then this movie is about Christmas to a degree in the end, and then the next movie ends up having Easter involved.
I was watching like by the time I got done watching all three of these, I was like, this almost feels more like an Easter episode than the one we
Than the
actually
one
did.
before.
Yeah,
Um,
but I want to ask you guys a question though. What was y'all's favorite monologue? Because for me, I think it is definitely gonna have to be the when he shows them all the pictures in the beginning and he tells them to slow down.
oh, okay.
I thought that was my favorite. But what do you
Let me
guys
just
think?
tell you something right now. Okay, there are a lot of scenes in this movie that I really enjoyed. A lot of great moments, a lot of great character interactions, a lot of great things. It's the highlight of the movie. That fucking scene where they're in the back and he's looking through the fucking photo album and he's telling him to slow down. Like I loved the scene. That was my favorite monologue, yes, and I love that scene already. But that fucking scene where William Hurt sees the picture of his wife and starts crying. I almost lost my shit watching that scene. I just first of all, the scene itself was so beautiful and so well paced. There are so many scenes in the movie that are just so fucking slow that just take their time in the best way. And that was no exception. Like just no dialogue. He's just looking through the fucking photo album. He'll look for like a couple of seconds and just nothing's being said. And then just let that silence build. And then just, I just don't get it. They're all the same, you know? And I just love Harvey Keitel. I just love that scene, him talking about fucking, this is my spot. This is my life's work, is just documenting. And the great montage of all the pictures. You really get a sense of just like what it is he's trying to do and all the different pictures, all the different days, all the different. And then it just like culminates in that moment. And William Hurt just is great throughout the whole movie, as he always was and everything.
R.I.P. to the goat.
Seriously, he was one of my favorite actors ever. I loved him to death. Every time he's in something, he's just the best part of the movie. But that scene, that was some of the realest shit. I don't know, just the way he performed that scene where he sees the picture and starts, that just hit me so hard because it just felt so fucking real. I was like, man, God bless you, bud. You crushed this scene. So yes, that's a long way of saying that's mine.
um, for me, it was. Sorry. I had to take that because I threw away the
Oh,
cigar
that-
that I had from State Maine, and I had to make a fake one
Oh,
with some paper.
I thought it was real.
You just took the vape in the end.
Oh, that's what.
Well, I meant the other, like, oh yeah, I guess it is a
Oh, it's
kind
too
of
long.
chunky. It's
But
too chunky.
anyway,
Too chunky.
my favorite scene was the one with Ashley Judd.
Oh,
It
Jesus
just was
Christ.
so hard. So you're
I
telling
didn't
me you
believe her at
slept
first,
with this
honestly. I
guy?
thought she was lying, and I was like wild when she like wasn't,
You
honestly.
actually let him
But
fuck you?
then, huh?
She was, can I just say, she's only in one scene. Her performance was so fucking powerful. I was like, God, she really brought her all in that scene. That was crazy. I
It's just
mean,
so hard hitting because like the only reason he went there was to see her and potentially see his grandchild, and she boarded that.
You know, one of the funniest scenes to me is when Stockard Channing first shows up and he just starts roasting the shit out of her from behind the counter, like literally just nonstop roasting her. I was like, God damn.
Yeah, she's
Like,
just like, you're a cold-hearted son of a bitch.
Too much Chianti, I suppose.
yeah, no, I mean, also, like one of the monologues I want to shout out is Forrest Whitaker's monologue about the arm.
Oh, can I again?
That just tore me apart.
The whole cast: Harvey Keitel, Stockard Channing, William Hurt, Harold Perrineau, everybody in the damn movie was just stellar. As fucking usual, Forrest Whitaker was my favorite actor. He gave my favorite performance. I thought from his first scene, I 100% believed him as that character. Like 100%. Like this is a real dude. I like this is completely authentic. And that fucking scene where he and Harold Perrineau finally have the confrontation you've been waiting for was so powerful. I was just like, I was not expecting it to hit that fucking hard. I guess you could say this one's gonna get cut. He has a mean right hook.
Oh, actually, no, don't cut that one. That was a good one. That's a good one.
But
Made me realize that this is because of this movie. We've had two movies with people with the claw hand,
yeah, with Rolling Thunder, yeah.
and then our second thing with a lead female with an eye patch after the Twin Peaks.
Yes, I was, but yeah, because that's the first, literally that's the first thing I thought of when she came into the movie was Nadine from Twin
Yeah,
Peaks.
she just
Women,
isn't a redhead.
women with eye patches, that's what I think of now.
Also, shout out
He
to
called her
the.
Captain Hook.
I know. Yeah, I was like,
He
you
was
literally
roasting the shit out of her.
roasting
You're
her
right.
fucking ass.
You're
Yeah.
right. He was roasting the shit out of her.
But
On
I
a
will
down,
shout out to the sound design because like the sounds of like the trains in the background or the cars or the fucking airplane when Jared Harris just kind of looks up in the sky and you just hear it
And
and you can see it, but you just can feel it.
the door, every time the door opens to the cigar shop, it just, yeah, it sounds so real.
So all of it is just. I thought the sound design was
well,
really
that's for not to make it on a downer note, but from the get go, as much as the Miramax logo is triggering as fuck, I loved seeing it and hearing that sound, that da na 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 na
Well,
na 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 na
I'll
na.
say this before Matt inevitably makes a fucked up joke. It's
I haven't thought of one yet.
not yet, but I'm sure
No shit, you wouldn't be here otherwise.
um
Which is another great line of dialogue.
yeah, what was it good? Oh, but no, obviously, yes, it's a very, long and complicated history with Miramax and, all that shit. But separating the Weinsteins from the company, that studio really just made so many fucking great movies, especially in the 90s. Like,
I feel like Smoke. I don't know if it got its record, like its day in court. Because I
yeah,
don't
I
hear
mean,
about it that
Well, it
often.
got a sequel.
It did.
Blue in the
It did get a
Face.
sequel, Blue in the Face, which I
yeah,
want to see, but it's got a whole point less than this. So I feel like
yeah.
it's more of a hangout movie.
But
I don't know.
this
Anything in the
movie,
sixes, I'll give.
I
but
mean, and
this movie,
still everyone came back, so
yeah,
except for like,
and
And then Jim Jarmusch comes in.
yeah,
So
with coffee and cigarettes. But what was I gonna say? Oh, but no, this movie, first of all, yeah, I'd heard of it, but I didn't know like that much about it, which is the case for quite a few of Wayne Wang's movies. He's always been like a very like he's that director who it's like not a lot of people know his movies, but the ones who do, like the indie fans who have seen his stuff, like, really appreciate it. And this I've heard was one of his better movies. But, it is a thing where for me, if I'm watching like a 90s indie movie and the Miramax logo comes up, I'm like, we're in for a good time. I know I'm gonna, it's like
yeah.
I know the Weinsteins have tainted the legacy of that studio, but it does bring comfort to see that logo come up because they were just the fucking kings of, in particular, 90s indie cinema. I mean, and this is no exception. Just really one of my favorite just kinds of movies are the kinds of movies they made back in the day. And this is one of many like great indie 90s movies that, like you said, yeah, kind of hasn't gotten its due. And I think having seen it now, it deserves more attention for sure because it is a fucking gem.
Should we say we're the Miramax of podcasts?
I hope not.
I
We
sure
have a
as
lot
shit
of rape.
hope not.
I hope not. But also, I guess, yeah,
So we
you
have a
got
lot of
point.
rape.
You got a point.
That's true. Look, if we're the Miramax of podcasts, if I have to be Bob, that's fine. Just don't make me Harvey.
Well, two of us have to be Harvey because
I
he's
just
so
don't want to.
fucking
I
bad.
guess it would
I
have to be
can.
me though, because I'm the one I think out of all of us who has picked the most movies with those circumstances.
I picked the Flowers of War though. That was a big
True, that like
Yeah.
canceled out any of my picks all in one.
and Matt picked Once
I
Upon a
picked Once
Time
Upon a
in
Time in
America.
America.
Yeah,
Yep.
so
Which is the
There's no
hard-
Bob. We're all Harvey.
Yeah.
I also
Okay.
picked Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. So yeah, it's we're all Harvey. Yeah, there's a little Harvey in all of us.
It's like a angel and the devil on the shoulder, but it's Bob and Harvey.
Oh man, but yeah,
All right.
Weirdly though,
Great.
you're gonna say, Matt?
I was gonna say again, just one scene I wanted to also point out real quick is the picnic scene. It made me want KFC and Budweiser so bad.
and that means you were immersed in that scene because it was so vivid that it
Yes.
puts you in the picnic.
I could smell it.
Did you know that apparently Harold Perrineau is only a year younger than Forrest Whitaker?
I was gonna, yeah.
That's
That's
fucking crazy.
What?
And I figured, I was like, I'm sure Harold Perrineau was not actually a teenager when he made this movie, but he was in his fucking 30s. Like, that's insane. He doesn't look like he's in his fucking 30s in this. And he genuinely looks a lot younger than Forrest Whitaker, so that's wild. But yeah, just it's one of those movies where even the side character, one gripe that I did have was I wanted those guys in the smoke shop to have more screen time. Like Giancarlo Esposito and those other dudes just hanging out in there.
Really?
I loved that first scene so much where they're just shooting.
Mookie.
Yeah,
Mookie.
Mookie. And I love, which is a not a deliberate reference to Do the Right Thing, which he was in, but it works as that because that's also set in Brooklyn. So it really, when you think about it, Giancarlo Esposito is playing his Do the Right Thing character, more reformed in this scene, talking about
It
movies.
did catch me off guard when I didn't notice Harris at first, and when he threw that can after the kid stole it, I was like,
I saw him
God.
about the second scene he was in. I like squinted. I was like, "Is that fucking Jared Harris?"
No, my one of the funniest lines in the movie to me was like that whole scene where they're standing outside and Harvey Keitel's explaining to him like the paradox of life, like you can't know what happens next. And he's like, "Do you get what I'm saying?" He's like, "Yeah, the paradise of life when you go to like the angels," and he just like hugs him.
yeah.
And then fucking William Hurt walks up with the broken arm and he just starts touching. He's like, "No," and he's like, "I thought he was faking it."
That's
I don't
where
know
I
why that
love
just made me laugh.
Good shit.
when she kind of like got when they were fighting and the reveal of him being his son like came out with Forrest Whitaker, and she got Harvey Keitel off of him and he went flying back, and then he like hits William Hurt's broken arm as he's like flying backwards, and then they both recoil backwards, and I'm like, that must have been so much fun to film. Like,
They finally got all of them together. That was like a
one
snap
of the
catch
most
right there.
emotionally tense scenes, because he runs out there and it's like, I got this, and then when he introduces himself, it's like, oh,
Well, that's why I
It's-
love the picnic scene after that is because like Harvey Keitel's just in the corner, like because like he's more removed, and so he's just chilling like with his beer, and like they're kind of all sitting there trying to figure this shit
I
out.
love how William Hurt also like rips out the cigarette with his teeth and spits it just like Forrest Whitaker.
Well, they didn't give him a freaking cutter. They
Exactly.
had no choice. So,
With also the tension of him sitting there with that long ass cigar, just staring at Thomas Jefferson Cole.
but I want to say this too about the ending, the like because it got you through the credits and too as well. But they show like the whole Christmas scene.
Yeah, which
Yeah, black and white.
I stopped that because I was like, I don't want to.
It's different though. They left out some things in the story that they have in the thing, and I was gonna ask if you guys saw that and thought that was funny.
Yeah, I stopped pretty quickly because I was like I preferred to leave it to my imagination because I thought it was so vivid just the way he described it. I loved picturing it in my head. I was like, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see
There's
it.
things that
It's just a third movie
They changed it. Yeah, I was about to say because like
That you
the
cut off
part.
the credits before the credits have.
So
But
you
this
missed.
time it was deliberate. This
You
time I
missed
was
it.
like,
You missed. Okay, so there's a scene, where he's cutting he's got the chicken and shit, right? Where you're like, okay, I know that scene. They totally leave out that he looks at her. She's like blind as hell, and he doesn't want to use his knife, so he just grabs it with his fucking bare hands and rips into it, and then just rips it apart, and then puts it on her plate. And it was just like, wait, what? Like,
he didn't
because
really
that's what
need
I thought
to.
too. Like, okay, why would I see this? And
Yeah,
I
the
was
first time I
like,
saw this, Matt showed it to me the summer after my freshman year in college, a decade ago, at this point almost.
yeah.
And that was like the big thing that stuck out to me, and that was the only thing I like kind of remembered was the ending, like black and white segment with all the stuff going on, and I was like, I'm looking forward to this. And then
Because then there's
getting the
another
movie
big
is
question
great.
that I had to ask you guys that you don't get to fucking understand, Jackson. Okay.
Damn.
Oh, sorry. This is the big one. Okay, so in the monologue, he says he came back about 3 months later and she was gone, probably dead. We got that, right? However, in the story, when he leaves and she says she was sleeping, when he walks out of the room, she looks fucking dead on the couch, sitting upright. So I wanted to ask, do you guys think she was dead then?
That's what I got from this viewing was that she was
And
dead. Then.
Jackson, I don't know if you could, because like I didn't
So
notice, I didn't think about that before, but did you get that from the monologue?
that she's
She
Dead.
wasn't sleeping. She's dead
Yeah,
when he
she was
walked
just
out with the
dead when
camera.
he walked out, and he said he decided to leave because she was sleeping, and
That's Chianti, maybe.
it's
And when you
Chianti
see it
maybe.
in the black and white, she is literally just like upright like this.
She was dead.
well, maybe
100% dead in my
so.
brain.
Maybe
And so I'm like,
so.
was she dead or not? Because like maybe that was a thing. I think that's why they
That
did
adds a
that.
whole new dimension to it. Yeah, that's interesting.
Because that would make
Wow.
sense of
So
why he
those
came
were
back.
literally like her last moments.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
that
was
would explain a lot.
Christmas. It was her death.
Yep, because she got to be with her son again.
That adds a whole new dimension to the story. That's interesting. But
This is why I was like, no.
no,
I'm
I
glad you
just
brought that up,
really
Matt, because that's the 100%. The second he brought up the monologue, I was like, "Isn't she dead?" And then he brought that up, and I was like, "Yeah, that is the moment." And it just all really sunk in, and I was like, "This is probably my favorite movie out of the three this week because of that ending moment where he gives
wow.
that
Because he
monologue."
literally, yeah, like this is just a shot of him walking out the door and she's just sitting there. And then when he leaves, there's like, they linger on it for a little bit, just a second. And then it's the end.
Yeah, I just preferred not to. I thought that the scene with the monologue was so just, I thought it spoke for itself. I thought just the way he described it was very vivid. I just preferred to not actually see it represented. So when they started that with the credits, I was just like, I don't need to see this.
Yeah.
But that is interesting. That is interesting that they like would add that detail, because that does add a whole new layer to the fucking story.
And the way he smiled, like, I love that smile they give each other after the whole, when he's like, you're a bullshitter, a master bullshitter. And he's like, like, what kind of friend are you if I
Oh,
can't
it's
share?
such a great line.
And he's like, yeah, I guess so. And then they just smile. Like, I
I
don't
just
know.
love that. I just love that moment because that was such great acting on Harvey Keitel's part, where William Hurt is like, "Oh, that's a great story. You're a bullshitter," and he takes that pause and he's kind of like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Everything I just told you was completely true. I'm not bullshitting you." I was like, "Yeah, that was a great moment."
Honestly, really love the moment where they're also sitting at the table and he slides him the money in the bag and he's like, "What am I gonna do with a paper bag?" And then he finds the money and then slides it back and is like, "I don't want it." And then he was like, "I want my job back."
Okay,
Well, he does the
one
same thing to Stockard Channing later because he hands her the thing. She's like,
one
what do you want me to do with this? And he goes, open it. I'm like,
yeah.
he called. He
Yeah.
learned.
One other gripe I had was how easily that plot was wrapped up. I thought that was a little too
I
convenient.
mean, but they also don't state it either when they show that the people who were after him because of the money were killed in that heist.
It's in the. I was like,
And
because I was
he just
thinking,
said if the police didn't come, I would have been dead. So they don't show the police showing up or what happened with that whole situation.
well, it said that they were killed in a robbery.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I meant like before because like he got roughed up, but that they didn't die yet, when he got roughed up. So I was like, why didn't they come back? And he mentioned the police showing up.
And then you see that image of the news article. I really
That's-
enjoyed
I
it.
just thought like just them like, oh, how convenient. Like they're just not a threat anymore because they just died off screen. Like, I don't know, that was kind of wrapped up a little too easily for me because there's so much tension with that plot the whole time, especially for me. You're thinking like, okay, they're gonna track down that money. And now Harvey Keitel's got it and he's in trouble. And then he just doesn't question where the fuck it came from. It's obviously stolen money, and he just doesn't question it, and then he gives it to Stucker Channing, and I'm like, oh, now she's in trouble. Like, who's gonna end up with this money? And those guys are gonna come after it.
That's where I was super happy that after seeing that their child was not a lost cause, but like she was beyond redemption, that I think him giving her all this money to make up for the fact that he wasn't there exactly really helps her as well. And I really appreciated the moment when he gave her that and she kind of broke down and was
Because
like,
what I was saying,
It's a
Jackson,
good
was like
moment.
once Harvey Keitel gives her the money, to me, that for the gangsters, it's going to be a lot harder for them to find it, especially back in the day, because like they would have to literally do the research and find out about this random person Harvey Keitel was seeing, and they'd have to be like following him. And I'm like, I don't know if gangsters would do that back in the day. They just kind of get like they got lucky because they knew that's where you know what's his face was staying, but everyone knew where he was staying.
yeah.
Not everyone knew about Harvey Keitel's character or anything like that. So that's why I think once he gave it to her, the money kind of was freed, which is why he did it. Not why he did it, but why the story maybe did it. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm glad that we got through that, or we liked it. And
Yeah. I would say for sure this was my favorite of the three this week. It was one of those. I was just telling Matt. It's one of those like pretty much from the first scene. I was like, okay, I think I'm really going to be locked into this one, and
Yeah.
I'm really going to enjoy it. So yeah, it's very much like you see a lot of movies kind of like this in this genre. The like, you know, the wordy like talking about life kind of movies, and you got your good ones, you got your bad ones, and then you got your exceptional ones. I'd say this is an exceptional one.
I
So
mean, the emotional depth this movie has is just unbelievable.
I mean, for sure. I mean, every one of the main characters, like, because as much as it did annoy me how easily that plot was wrapped up, I did really like that scene where Stucker Channing got the money and was like able to be happy and thankful and shit. And like, I thought all of the main characters really had such great resolution and great little things too. I just have to say, um, just when Harvey Keitel is talking about just like given the background for how he ended up with the smoke shop, he was like, I was gonna go to college and then I got fucking, had to go to serve in the war and shit. And like now, and that was your fault. And like now look at where I am and everything. And it was like, okay, I just learned a lot about that character just in that little exchange. So
A very kind of side note question for Matt, because I think he's the only person who has seen this movie. Um, and what relation does this have to Paul Schrader's Blue Collar? Like, is it the same kind of vibe for a movie, or would you not at all? Okay, because that has Harvey Keitel, and so that's
No, this is
I just
like I don't know.
assume
This
that
is
they're both
wholesome. Like
very
there's heart to the
similar.
movie. Like there's emotion and heart to this one. And while there is like a certain amount of emotion in Blue Collar, it's a very like Paul Schrader steel plated kind of movie.
Paul
Okay,
Does that
Schrader
make
is
sense?
not
that's
usually
what.
very heartfelt. He's usually very
Well,
No,
cynical
it's
and
that was
very
one of
like
his
rough.
first
It's
movies,
rough.
so I thought
It's
that
like
they
it
were
is
at
Blue
least
Collar.
slightly
Like it's
hard.
like no, it's very rough.
Dang.
I
Okay.
would not
Because I
I would
was
not
wanting to watch that
even
after this, and then I was
I mean
like,
it might be a good double
I don't
feature, but I
know. I
wouldn't
don't
consider
know.
it the same type of movie.
Okay.
And if you want to see more Harvey Keitel, yes. If you're
Okay.
looking for like
always.
heartfelt Harvey Keitel,
Nuts.
or like if you're looking for like some deep, it's not that it's not deep. It's just this is a different type of deep, very much so. But
Um,
Hmm.
yes. So
well, the moral of the story really is
and speaking,
fear the creeper. If the creeper is creeping, then you best
hey,
get.
you don't call the creeper that. You don't call Charles that to his face, Charles. God damn.
Is that what he said? His name was
Yeah,
Charles?
he said you don't call Charles that to his face.
I didn't hear him say Charles. That's
I could have
hilarious.
sworn it was Charles. Maybe I'm wrong, but I heard don't call Charles that to his face.
Oh man, that's fucking hilarious. That was
Yeah.
the actor who played the creeper. That's Malik Yoba, who was in Cool Runnings. He was like the tall, intimidating dude from Cool Runnings. Every time I see him in something, that's what I think of. He's in Copland too, and I was like, that's the dude from Cool Runnings. But
Speaking of what was I gonna say? Fuck.
well, I'll tell you this much. I think, this movie resurrected my love for indie cinema. And with that being said, we have, ladies and gentlemen, after our Easter special, as is tradition, we have Resurrection.
Resurrection.
Take it away, Mr. Holler.
It took that man a year to recover from his circumcision. It only took me 3 days, or for you viewers, a week. So, my pick this week is Resurrection, which I almost chose last week, but I wasn't sure if it actually was an Easter movie or not. Can confirm it is.
Sam, can I just say, literally anything would have been more of an Easter movie than Critters 2.
Yeah, this was like, I was literally watching this and I was like, why didn't we watch this?
Yeah, I'm like, Resurrection, Critters 2.
At least
Resurrection
Critters 2 had the Easter Bunny.
True.
So that's why I was like, okay, I saw the clip of the Easter Bunny and I was like,
but we got the second coming of Christ in this one.
Yeah.
But we have the second coming of Christ, the resurrection.
Will he be making an appearance?
As you will see in the next minute or so,
Christ.
once this jacket gets on.
Freaking Christ. That's what they should have called this.
Freeze! Freeze!
Wait.
But let me be like the guy. Detective, I think you're trying to bait me right
Freeze!
That's all Christopher Lambert did in this movie. Was Christopher Lambert. My pick, Resurrection, 1999. It's 19. Well, what were you gonna say?
Just side note, one of the very first things I said when this started was, "Oh boy, this looks like a 1999 thriller."
It's 1997 or 8. I don't know. But you're Christopher Lambert, and you're hanging out with your friend Brad Meerman. What do y'all do? You go see Seven in theaters. David Fincher's Seven is a wonderful movie. You go see it. And you meet with your other friend right after, who apparently was in the theater as well, Russell Macaulay, director of things such as
Ricochet!
Island, Ricochet, the Teen Wolf TV show. But you don't know that at that point. And
Give him Home Alone.
What do y'all do? It's right before Easter, so you decide to make a movie just like Seven about Easter.
No way. They were going to make another movie, and they were at dinner and decided, nah, we want to make this one instead.
Exactly. They were all having a conversation, and they were talking about something, and they couldn't stop talking about the idea for this other movie called
Exactly like Seven.
That was exactly like Seven. As you pointed out, Matt, it should have been titled 8. But the only gist is the big revealing shocking factor instead of the dude in the bed at the beginning of Seven is at the end of your movie when you find out that the killer has resurrected Jesus via corpses, and you for a while think it's David Cronenberg, in my opinion at least. You think he's just repeating Nightbreed. And
why else would they put him in the movie?
Yeah, why else would they put it in the movie?
Why indeed? Still questioning that.
Kind
of throw us off.
Exactly. But your partner in crime, Leland Oscar, gets shot. Because originally it could be him, but once he gets injured and they cut off that fucker's leg, they cut it off. He begs you to not let them do it.
Okay, that scene.
And then you let him do it.
Where he is fucking like in the hospital freaking out. I thought that was good. I thought he was a good actor. I was like, okay, you're fucking killing it. Awesome. The face white shit, making his face pale, scared the shit out of me. I'll give it that.
The next thing I was going to get to. You want one of the ugliest movies to ever exist, but you want it to be shot insanely well. So Jonathan Freeman is your guy. He shoots the
Okay.
absolute fuck out of this movie, but it is low-key ugly, but it is also
There are
beautiful.
scenes, the scenes where he is shaking the camera like while he's just staring. I was like,
I'm gonna be real. I thought this movie had absolute trash cinematography, but we'll get into
Really?
that later.
Okay,
Yeah.
I thought the most
Easily my
redeeming
least
factor
easily my
was
least
the
favorite
look
part
of
of
the
the movie
movie,
was the cinematography.
especially the scene where he shouts out in the crowded train subway station, "Stop!" And people go crazy, and he chases him, and then you get that shot just pulling away from him as he stands there in that white route, like that white area. I thought they were really, really well shot moments. I don't think the movie looks pretty in any way as whatsoever. I think it's very ugly.
It's 1999, so they have to have a fucking matrix green filter over everything for no reason. But
But that is resurrection. You are coming back from Christ, and my ultimate tie-in to it, which is the fact that they make the joke that that man took a year to recover from his circumcision. And all last week we were talking about how it took me 3 days to recover from the fourth nail,
what a
which is
pussy.
the circumcision. But if you can't afford it, that's too fucking bad. Okay? I don't know how y'all felt about this movie, other than I assumed, based off of what I've seen on Letterboxd, it was not y'all's cup of tea.
So I watched this probably in the perfect mindset, which was about half a bottle of wine deep.
With
Four
precious
edibles.
blood of Christ as
Wait,
of the Lamb without blemish of a
well,
spot.
and
can I
four edibles deep,
19.
and wait, 15 milligrams of melatonin deep.
Oh. Well, then that's
So I
where I
was on
lead
the
to
trifecta
Matthew
right there.
24:27. For as the lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. And the Son of Man is the melatonin high that you get when you're half asleep and half awake.
And watching this movie, like, what the fuck is going on here?
Well, Sam, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Um, how how does a blonde stop having sex?
Well, let
How
me.
does a blonde turn the lights on after sex? She opens the car door.
Goddamn, that was an insane line. Uh,
His
well, that,
fucking jokes that started the scenes were flooring me every time. I was like, wow, these are so random. But
I do have a question for y'all. What is 2 plus 4? 4 plus 2 plus 7.
Hey, I have a question for y'all. I have a really good question for y'all, actually. Hot take: Christopher Lambert is a fucking idiot.
like in real life or in the movie?
No, in the movie. In the movie. Because, like, dog, hold on to your fucking son. You piece of shit.
No, I have a different take.
That was such a bullshit scene that I was like, yeah, I rewind it. I had to re-fucking wind it. Like, that is how bullshit it was. I was like, no way.
I have
Also,
a
I can't
different
believe they showed that.
I have a different take. Christopher Lambert's son is an idiot. Um, if you're
No,
going towards the middle of the street, stop your fucking bike, you dumbass. Like, what are you
third
like,
take. Third take. He's a kid. Third take. Christopher Lambert wanted to kill his son.
well, all
No, actually,
valid,
think
I
about this.
suppose.
Think about this for a second. Maybe it is Christopher Lambert's God, and his son is the kid because he was on a tricycle after all, and what also has 3 points but a cross.
Hey, the cross has 4 points, and that fourth point is hidden under the
No, the
cross.
fourth point is his head skidding across the fucking gravel.
Jesus.
I have to
Alright.
say, the fucking I was genuinely shocked at like the how they were able to show like violent scenes like that. Because I remember I was like, okay, so the kid's gonna go into traffic, and what I was not expecting was them actually showing in like gruesome detail his head getting crushed under the tire. I remember I was sitting here kind of half joking, like, oh shit, he's about to get fucking. And then when that happened, I was like, God
Oh,
damn, like,
okay.
whoa.
This is what I give Russell McKay like fucking credit for. Every movie I've seen of his, he always has one scene where you're thinking, they're not gonna show that. And
Yeah.
then they fucking show it. Or they do it. You're like, they're not gonna do that. They are.
And
Like Ricochet. That had a couple of scenes where you're like, they're not gonna go that far. They're not gonna
yeah,
either show it or go that far. They do.
like Denzel Washington getting the clap.
Yeah, exactly. Like I
Yeah.
haven't or getting addicted to drugs and having to get off drugs.
Yeah.
Like a weird like segue. I haven't seen Highlander in a long time, so I can't speak for that one. But there's another movie that I made sure called Give 'Em Hell
Head
Malone.
off.
And that movie has crazy shit in it. And you're like, how the fuck did you get it? Like you just started you just said, fuck it, I'm gonna do it.
Well, I'll say
And
this.
he do that one movie we watched, Sam, with Ice-T? Was that him?
Oh, the game one where they're
Yeah,
all on the run in the woods. Survival of the game or
is
survival
that
of
it?
the game.
Surviving the Game?
Surviving the game.
Is that isn't yeah, that him too?
Could be.
I thought that was Justin Lin who did that.
I haven't seen it in so
We'll
long.
find out. I'm gonna look it up.
Hmm. Surviving.
Ernest R. Dickinson.
Oh.
Nope.
Huh.
Ernest R.
All I know
Dickinson.
him as is a cinematographer. I didn't know he directed anything.
Anyways,
He used to
I just wanted
DP a
to
lot
say,
of Spike Lee's movies.
Russell
Um,
McKay, he gets my credit, gives me, I give him credit for showing things like that where you should not have seen the shit, but he's
just
like,
the scene where he's dangling the baby off the roof was so fucking crazy. I
Yo,
was,
that was absolutely wild.
yes, it was extremely.
This is
There
the
were
second
many-
time on the show that a baby has been thrusted through so much physical
Yes.
trauma that it definitely couldn't have survived what went
Absolutely.
through it.
Absolutely.
The second they ran out on the roof and it was raining, I was like, "Oh, that baby has pneumonia now." And
That's what I said. That's exactly what I said. I was like, that baby's gonna catch pneumonia. Like,
But
what the
I
fuck?
love the way they shot the rain and how like they lit it and it was like exploding off of them, off their shoulders and everything.
I have to say, okay, so my thoughts on this are, it's funny because Russell Mulcahy has every movie I've seen from him, which is this, Highlander, and Ricochet, his second appearance on this podcast. Every movie I've seen from him is the same in that they're all very silly and have a lot of just kind of silly, dumb things in them. But damn, they're still entertaining. Like Highlander, the thing I always say about Highlander is it's a good movie trapped in a bad movie's body. Like it's very much like there's so much goodness in that movie, but it's trapped in the confines of this stupid shit that's also going on. Like Ricochet was kind of the same way, where it was like, okay, there are a lot of dumb things that happen in this movie, but fucking hell, I was so entertained by that movie. This was exactly the same for me. Like, is this the greatest movie ever? No. Are there a lot of stupid things in this movie? Are there a lot of formulaic things in this movie? Yes. Was I entertained as hell watching it? Yes.
Yes.
I had a really
That's awesome to hear. I'm glad.
I had a really
was
fun time.
worried.
Honestly, not as much at first. At first, I was like, okay, this is kind of just a generic, like, late 90s thriller. But then, man, when it really started moving, I just found myself more and more and more invested and more just like
I
the
felt
end of the
so bad
movie.
for Leland Orser. Like I was,
I know, I loved
he
him.
is, I was like, ah, you're so cool.
I
I love the
know.
scene in the beginning when he's like, and nobody likes you, and he just looks at me and goes, I like you, like, and then they just walk out.
Yeah, and I just think like to me, a lot of parts of it were very, especially the backstory with the son. Like there was that whole scene I was like, it's just copy and pasted from half the scripts ever written. Like, you haven't been talking to me for the last year, and I feel like our relationship is fucking. I'm like, I've seen this scene 1,000 times. It's so generic, and just there were a couple of moments like that, but at the same time. I just thought a lot of it was really creative. Like the plot to me, sure, you can call it a ripoff of Seven, but like, first of all, so are half the thrillers made since Seven. But I'm
Yeah.
just like, I don't know, just the whole idea of
This
he's
is a better version of that, in my opinion. I will
so
say
what?
that it's like a better version, like of the people that rip off Seven.
Yeah,
This
of the seven
is
knockoffs,
better.
this is one of the very few to me that had some genuine like creativity and originality
I
to
agree
it.
It
with
kind
you,
of
yeah.
sucks because I did read that the director said that a lot of the violence was cut out of the release.
Which
of
is
it.
like, what did you cut out? Like, considering what he left in, I'm like, what the fuck did you cut out of this movie?
It
That's
was
why I like
it was
him.
NC-17 and then they cut it out.
He doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, and I'm it's yeah, that's how they roll in the land down under. But what was I gonna say? Oh, but I really thought the idea of him stealing the body parts and like picking the targets based on them having the names and the ages of the apostles and everything, and just like I thought the whole idea of like reconstructing, like you said, Matt, the Frankenchrist, like
Literally.
really create and I was thinking to myself the whole time, we were getting kind of close to the end of the movie, and I was like, they're gonna have to show it at some point before they've built it up so much. They're gonna have to have a scene where they finally show us this thing. And so you're kind of waiting the whole movie for that. And I don't know about you guys, that scene did not disappoint for me. I thought that was very
That's where
disturbing.
I loved when he was just.
I almost texted the group chat. I almost said, Sam, you picked a fucked up movie this
I
week.
know. Like Sam was like, I was like, yeah, this is wild as fuck. I don't fucking
Yeah.
know.
I was
But
like, I
Russell
was tempted to
McKay.
say, Sam, you picked some fucking dark ass shit this week. But because
Also,
I
I
was
do want to
watching that.
shout out Russell McKay real quick because I did look at his like director thing to figure out what I was thinking of, and I couldn't find it. But he directed a movie with Dolph Lundgren called Silent Trigger,
Oh,
and that was the first movie I ever watched on Netflix, ever.
Oh,
that's why.
I
okay.
very much remember that vividly because like my dad and I got Netflix, and then I was like, oh, a Dolph Lundgren movie. Bink.
A low key a movie. I guess this is our Russell Mulcahy movie for this season. But next season, I low key want to pick The Shadow.
Oh,
Just
No, I mean,
I
I'm also
literally
thinking
in my brain was like, I'm doing the shadow soon, like,
at some
yeah.
point this season I might pick another one. So
and then I
Oh,
could pull up my shadow comics and put them on the cast.
because like I'm curious about that one for sure. But I feel like now that's like a thing. We got to pick a movie of his every at least once a season. But yeah, it was definitely I thought like a very disturbing, very interesting, and honestly some moments of genuine emotion. Like you said, Matt, Leland Orser, I felt so fucking bad for. Like, yeah, he was great in that scene where he's in the hospital bed, like, I'm scared, I'm scared. I was like, damn, that was such great acting. And
And when
also when you think they've killed his wife, I was floored during that scene. Like before they reveal it wasn't her, I was like, just Christopher Lambert's acting in that scene was incredible. He was so devastated. I was like, I can't believe, wow, they actually did it. And then she's alive. But still, that moment is still very impactful just because of his emotion and his guilt in that moment. And that motherfucker, he looked familiar, but I can't think of another thing I've seen him in. This motherfucker, Robert Joy, is the creepiest looking motherfucker I
he's
ever
wait,
saw.
so
The
awful.
wait,
Seth Meyers looking motherfucker.
wait,
That's what I kept
wait.
calling him throughout the
Are you
movie.
talking about?
The
No.
killer.
Oh, okay. Because there's one person. I don't know if that's him or not. I don't think it is. But there's the one person that I saw in the movie that I wanted to shout out from the Boondock Saints, the one of the detectives.
Yes, yes, he was in it. Yes, one of the guys,
Yes.
one of the
Um,
FBI guys. Yeah.
And
Matt,
I was like,
you
yo, I've
know,
never seen you in anything else.
you know Robert Joy as Stephen Hawking's from the superhero movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's who he played.
Well, good to know he went on to
Wild.
much better work.
Hey,
Hey,
superhero
he's playing
movies
Stephen
are the
Hawking,
shit.
fuckers.
Yeah, that's the shit. He did it before um
Eddie
Fear of
Redmayne made it
Everything.
cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, he was an incredibly like convincing, creepy like villain. I thought, and I did think at one point I was like, I wonder if it's him. I kind of feel like it's him, but I wasn't sure. And then when they revealed it, I kind of stopped thinking that, and then I was like, oh shit, it was him. No fucking way.
So I love
Like
the
he had
scene where
just that.
they go in and they see the baby's missing and they come out and they see the dude like walking away and they also like don't really kind of like you kind of know it's him at that point, but they also
Yeah.
don't like they make him kind of disguised as he's like running away with the baby
Yeah.
and then throws the scalpel which goes into the dude's arm and then has the gun. That baby's ears are fucked even despite the pneumonia and despite being hung upside down over a building top, but he sold the role.
Oh my
And
God, did he? He was incredible. I mean, every scene, like once you find out it's him, this is another thing I'll say about Russell Mulcahy. I don't know how he consistently does this. His movies have the most hateable villains. Like whether it's the Kurgan in Highlander or
I,
John Lithgow in Ricochet, I was like, this dude is right in those guys' company. Is like, I want this piece of shit to die. Like when he got shot and fell off the building, I
You
was like,
notice though
good fucking
he
riddance.
spread like Jesus as he
Yeah.
fell, and then was on the cross as he died
Yeah, which brought the whole thing
visually.
together.
So
yeah, I mean, like, when I was watching this, I was just like, what the fuck is this movie? But I was never bored. I was never like, I want this movie to end or like, is this over yet? I was just kind of like, what is gonna happen next?
Yeah, I mean that was the thing is like kind of more in the beginning, that's kind of how I felt was like, what the fuck is this thing? But as it kept going, I was like, I really want to know where this is going though. And I grew to be invested in the characters and in the story and in the mystery. I was like, who is this guy and why is he doing it? And unfortunately, by the end, that was kind of a sort of a gripe I had was unless I'm forgetting, I don't think they ever said why he was doing what he was doing, which on the one hand,
he's insane.
Okay,
insane in
did
the most.
anybody ask fucking Victor von Frankenstein why he was doing what he was doing? No, I don't think the
Well, what
mob gave a fuck about that, did they? They
well
just
what
wanted
I
him
was what I was gonna say is on the one hand, I did kind of like that they kept it a mystery because I was like, okay, it does kind of make it more disturbing, like and mysterious. Like, why is he like? They give you little clues, like he got arrested for beating up a priest, and like it kind of it gives it like an air of mystery to it, which is kind of interesting. But then on the other hand, I was like, nah, man, why the fuck is he doing this? Like, come on, like and to
He
compare it to
wants to make man.
That
You
is
are,
where
he is a god.
I'm happy Cronenberg was not the killer because
He was making Jesus.
with
That makes him
Nightbreed,
god.
I would have like been like, oh, this is a trope, and I don't want to see him play like multiple
yeah.
I thought that was
villains.
like false.
It's
Yeah.
funny because I think I did like in Cronenberg's first scene, I thought maybe it was him, but then I never thought it again because he really wasn't that big of a character
Yeah.
after.
Once I started to
Um,
realize he wasn't coming back, I was like, oh, okay. But then they did all the medical stuff, and so I was like, oh, but he was a doctor,
yeah,
and so maybe that's why he didn't come back because they want you to not remember him, and then he wasn't the killer.
but
So
comparing it to Seven, I was like, okay, like John Doe and the whole
which
plot.
Leland also was in.
But they just kept, yeah. But the thing was with this one, they kept using like Seven-esque, like it was the whole vibe of Seven too. Like even the
But
fucking
but just like
the cinematography.
comparing the villains in both movies, it's like John Doe in Seven is still like even if they had never revealed why he was doing what he was doing or had that whole end part, like it's still interesting. It's still a great idea. He's still a mysterious character and it's a creative idea. So it's not so like you've got that, but having that whole last 20 minutes and kind of knowing why he's doing this, it does make him a much deeper, well-layered character. So here it's like kind of the same where it's like, okay, not knowing it's not that it's bad. It's just it definitely would have been more interesting if we had gotten some kind of idea about why other than he's just crazy,
Yeah.
But still, I did think it was an interesting idea, and Robert Joy really sold it through his performance for sure. He was just
I love the moment when they were like, "Oh, it's gonna be someone named Mary having a child after
yeah,
midnight into Easter," and then you cut to that clock and it's already after midnight, and they're all freaking out in the clock in the police station, and they're taking all the phone calls of all these people. I
yeah.
really enjoyed that aspect, and then
I'm gonna
they
say
have
that
what are you gonna say?
you go for it.
They have the two detectives leave to go to that other hospital, and then they have Christopher Lambert and the other dude going, and it's like, who's gonna like
Yeah.
actually be the one
I
who gets
also
them?
loved I just have to say, speaking of which, the fucking tension in the scene where he's rushing home to try to get to his wife in time was through the roof. And I literally made the joke, he's fucking Popeye Doyle, and that's literally the same bridge in the French Connection, that exact location. And I
That's
was like,
crazy.
he is fucking Popeye Doyle. Like driving like a lunatic under that same fucking bridge. I was like, damn, that's wild.
They
But
knew the references they were doing.
yeah, and just like him literally immediately just Christopher Lambert again, just great acting, just get the fuck out of my way, like running through the
That's what
office
I
and
don't get.
shit.
all the shit I see about this movie is like how terrible people think Christopher Lambert is, and I think he was one of the most
Great.
carrying forces of this movie. Even though
I
there's
can
moments where it's
see.
a bit too ridiculous, I think he sells other moments in such a subtle way that it's like, oh, you're killing this role.
I get that he is not the first or second or 10th person you would think of for a part like this, but I really think, and you can tell they kind of shoehorned in the whole he's a Cajun thing, so it makes more sense why there's a French guy in a Chicago police department. But I will say this: if people can accept it for Arnold Schwarzenegger, then they should be able to accept it for Christopher Lambert, because that is my problem with every Arnold Schwarzenegger part is why is this giant fucking Austrian dude with a German accent playing a part that is clearly meant for an average American and
Like The
nobody
Last
questions it
Stand,
for
where he's
him.
the sheriff in the middle of nowhere, dumb
Yeah,
hick country town, and like he's an Austrian sheriff, and like,
my daughter's a zombie.
yeah, like, what?
I
Oh my God.
am an American. My name is John Miller.
Like
And
it
I am
makes
an
sense for
American and I
Terminator.
sound like this. Ah. I'm like, if we don't question it for him, I think it's okay if we have a Cajun detective in a Chicago police department. So
So the thing is in Give Him Home Alone, he uses Thomas Jane instead of Christopher Lambert, and it made me think of how similar Thomas Jane and Christopher Lambert are when I was watching this movie.
you know,
I was like, I could see Thomas Jane playing this part.
I can see
Yeah,
that. I can see
completely.
them having similarities in their
He's got a
mannerisms.
big ass forehead.
But yeah, no, I truly think I get why maybe some people would think it's just odd to cast him in this role, but I really think like for most of the movie, I thought he was really just bringing it. Like you could feel the emotion, you could feel, and I'm always down for Christopher Lambert. I think he's just, entertaining in whatever he's in. He does not show up in enough stuff these days, so I was happy to see him as the lead in something.
Just
I thought it was cool him and Russell Mulcahy, reteaming after Highlander. It was like, all right, like our
Shout out
boys
to
are
you'll
back
have to
together.
guess it because I'm not going to tell y'all. But one of my later picks this season will have him
You're
in
not
it.
picking Southland Tales, are you?
None of your business.
I
You'll
didn't know he
find
was
out.
in
If you're
that.
picking Southland Tales and I'm picking Southland Tales,
Fuck
we got a
you.
fucking
Well, I'm
problem.
picking Southland Tales. Fuck you. It's my
God
pick, not
damn it.
yours. I said it first.
Bullshit. Like this was just found out about, and I was staring at it the other day, and I was like, I was like, we might need to pick this one for the cast. Fine then.
But
But
you'll
just
have to
let
find
me
a good
know.
movie to partner it with,
Fuck you.
like
I'm gonna surprise both of you. I'm picking Southland Tales. There you go. I got the drop on you.
Actually, Jackson, if Southland Tales is your pick, I will relinquish it because I want you to have to take ownership of that film
Please
and your
take
choice
ownership
for
of the
that
film.
film
Yes.
to be on
Actually,
this
no.
podcast.
That would be the funniest shit ever if Jackson, if you were the one who picked it. Just watching you explain it versus us would be funny.
Yeah, that's a movie I've always wanted to see. I don't really. I'll let one of you.
I hate it. You probably will hate it, but
Oh yeah.
But I've always been curious about it for sure. But yeah, that what was I gonna say?
because I was just thinking about his cameo in Southland
Yeah,
Tales. And I was like, yeah.
his bit in
I had
South
no idea he was in that. That's wild.
super similar to A, How I'm Dressed, and B, his role in this.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, and one thing I liked too, I really liked his relationship with the two other cops who they hate him at first, and he's getting to the crime scene. They're like, "Fuck you, man! Why you got to steal our fucking crime scene?" And he doesn't really get along with anybody else. And I liked over the course of the movie they bonded more, and like after he visits after his wife is like almost killed,
Gotta look it up.
they kind of come up to him and they're just like, "Hey, man, like, we're here for you and shit." And the one guy, like the chief, suspends him from the case, and they're like, "Hey, he said we can take whoever we wanted with us, so come on, man." And I'm like, "Hey, all right, they got each other's backs." And can I just say, I lost my shit. I don't laugh this hard that often when he fucking when Christopher Lambert comes into the police station and the guy's like, "Yeah, my sister, she got hit by a bus," and he just fucking busts out laughing. And he's just like, "That's not a joke. My sister was really hit by a
Yeah.
bus." He's like, "Oh, I thought you were telling a joke."
That
I
was was a good one.
Funny as shit. He laughed so fucking hard. That was what made it so funny. But I was like, he was trying to fit in. But I also, again, genuine moment of like actual emotion when they're in the back of the ambulance and he's trying to tell him a joke and he's just like, that's the worst fucking joke I ever heard, man. He's like, yeah, I know it is. I was like, oh man, there were see, to me there were genuine moments of like actual emotion and good writing in the movie in the midst of the kind of more formulaic shit. So
I can't.
That's what I like about Russell Mulcahy is like no matter what he does, no matter how like low key it should be, he still's got something going on. But I will say that scene where he's seeing the dead body in the beginning, and they're just like showing his like Christopher Lambert's like face, and they're just the camera's just moving around. You guys know what I'm talking about?
yeah.
That pissed me off a little bit. I was
The
like,
cinematography in this was utter garbage. I drove me
there were
fucking
times where I
crazy.
liked it. I just that point I was like, no.
I really like this dude out of the cops. I can't
Yeah.
find his
I
name.
like Rick Fox though too. Rick Fox was pretty
Yeah,
good.
both of those guys. I really like both of those guys.
So-
They felt like really, like not pointless, like really interesting characters
Yeah.
that I thought added a lot. And yeah, I just thought like so much of the like handheld bullshit. There were so many scenes where I couldn't see what the fuck was going on. Like that action scene where they're coming out of the warehouse. I was like, what is happening? I can't fucking see shit. And there were moments like just simple shots where literally what you're doing right now is like not that far off. Actually, that's better than the cinematography of the movie was. Like, I'm not kidding. I can at least see you, but what was it? And then just seeing like that scene where they're in the diner. Well, Christopher Lambert was going crazy during that scene where he's just like, "What the fuck are you looking at?" I was like, "Damn, man!" But literally that scene, I was like, the top of the other guy's fucking head is cut off in the shot. I was like, God, this is so badly framed. Like, what the fuck? It's like filmed by a drunk fucking monkey or something. I was like, why does this look so bad? But yeah, honestly, just I'm coming to appreciate Russell Mulcahy as a director more, just because like all three of his movies, it's like no matter how flawed they
That's
were,
where
I enjoyed them.
Underrated director for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
shout out to our opening quote, "The ice is gonna break," because the director, like the set dresser, who did a lot of the religious stuff with the recreation of Christ's body, did the stuff for Dead Zone and
No shit.
Cronenberg.
like, Video Drone and all
Oh.
that stuff, and then Cronenberg's in this as well.
Hell
So
of a connection. Wow.
Yeah, because I guess they would have to be low key friends to get Cronenberg to show up for 5 seconds.
yeah,
Yeah.
I wonder if he might have
just
asked
figured
him
it's
for
a
like help on
Canadian-
that kind of stuff, and then Cronenberg, they were like, "Well, let's just put you in the movie for a small
It's
role."
a Canadian movie, so that's just why I figured Cronenberg was in it. They were just like,
Okay.
let's get a Canadian director to just show up. But
I mean, I can see them having similar sensibilities.
yeah. I can see them being like colleagues and shit. But
So. What do you guys think for this week? Are we 3 for 3? Even though because we didn't like Resurrection, but we found it entertaining.
yeah, I'm 3 for 3.
I'm 3 for 3.
I'd
I'm
say
3
so.
for 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely a very light 3 for 3 compared to some other like.
Yeah, it's not
I'm
like
all
I
about these
loved
movies,
all
but-
3 movies, but I enjoyed all 3 for sure.
Yeah,
Exactly. I agree with that.
Yeah.
well, it's
Oh,
good.
yeah.
Though. We're all 3 for 3 for this week. Oh, my cat's trying to get in.
Uh-oh.
Let me shut that.
Well, I guess that's it for our, I'm calling it the Easter recovery episode. This is our walk of shame after getting plastered on Easter.
I have that backwards.
But yeah, put a fork in it, Matt. I guess put a fork in us because we're done. So there you go. This has been yet another 3 for 3. We hope you enjoyed. The one subscriber who's left after the fiasco, the circumcision fiasco last week. But
That's why I'm like, our view count dropped, and our circumcision episode hadn't even come out yet.
I'm telling
So,
you,
like,
they're
what in the
preparing us for
world
it.
Like
was
YouTube
going
was
on?
like,
YouTube knows. They're like, we know what you've got coming, and we don't.
they've been
approve.
watching. Yeah.
The moderators at YouTube are uncircumcised.
We're 3 for 3. The people at YouTube are watching for the weekend. That's an outdated reference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed.
Uh,
And we hope you guys will tune in next week, and we hope that you enjoyed and yeah, all that good shit.
Let us
So
know if y'all are 3 for 3,
yes, I put out
what
my
your
first
favorite movie was.
I put out my first poll
It's
already. So
frustrating. Did you see the
I'm
results?
putting it up on Spotify too.
the results are three
It's
for three. It's a
it's three
three-way
for three.
tie.
It's a 3-way tie, and I was like,
Yeah.
"What?"
And I was pissed because my favorite was A Face in the Crowd, and that one was lagging behind. And then finally it caught up. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Welcome.
But,
That was
but
me.
yes,
That was
I'll
me.
be putting a poll out for this one as well. So thank you very much. Oh, and yeah, I have to say real quick, because this is going to go up probably like towards the end of April. Y'all, it's Parfait Awareness Month. And
Woo!
we need to celebrate.
Woo!
For those of you
Parfait
out there who are
awareness.
unaware, for those of you out there who are unaware, Parfait Awareness Month is the month of April. And what is it exactly? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a month dedicated to the awareness of parfaits. This is our 12th fucking year. Hashtag Team Parfait for life. And yeah, so just go get yourself some parfaits, everybody, and let us know about it. I may put a poll out for that. I may not. But either way, comment, tell us all about it, because I had to get a plug in there. So, yes.
Matt put a plug in it as well.
Yeah.
There you go. But take
There you
care,
go.
everybody.
It's been 3 for 3, y'all.
3, 4, 3.